All right, welcome to our channel. Today we're going to be discussing a very sensitive topic, which will be immigration and how to report. I'm going to make an argument and then let you guys be the judge of that argument, and we'll see what everybody has to say. I expect that both Democrats and Republicans will comment below. We want to hear from you. Even if you have something unpleasant to say, I'm okay with that. I'm not going to cry overnight over it. So in this video, we're going to be discussing Section 8 housing and low-income housing and the 108,000 people that are illegally in the country and then residing in HUD-subsidized homes. Federal government's putting the bill, and 108 and counting at this point are residing under a lease in somebody's home that has a voucher legally, okay? Here's the argument, guys, and then I'm going to get into reporting. Here's the argument. As a Section 8 consultant, I deal with clients every day. Americans and those that have chose to come to this country legally and become American, then they are languishing on waiting lists, okay, in order to get vouchers. There's not a lot of funding out there. It takes a while. And so my argument is this, hear it from my side. The interest of our country is for people that are Americans or have become Americans legally. If I've got a 90-year-old man, and this is not a joke, a 90-year-old man living in his car because he's languishing on a wait list, while we have people that are illegally in the country utilizing friends and family under their voucher to live in their federally subsidized apartment, and we can't get anything for this gentleman. I've got veterans that are dying on sidewalks and waiting a year, 2 years, 3 weeks, sometimes 4 years. But yet we have people that have committed a felony, crossed over the border, come here to the U.S., and now reside with family and friends because housing authorities have been allowing mixed-use voucher. In other words, somebody, if you have a legally, this is how this game works. If you're legally here in the U.S. and you have a voucher, housing authorities up to about 4 days ago were allowed to overlook the fact that you had illegal people living in the country in your apartment. In other words, you're using your money, your voucher you got as an American, and then you're being complicit in hosting a felon that entered the country and became a felon. And then further, as the president has mandated just a few days ago, continuing to allow that person to live in your home is now another felony. So a felony to enter the country, a felony to participate in a program, whether you're on the lease or not, doesn't matter. And the argument is we have people that are Americans that have fought wars that are living on the sidewalk. And I've got fucking people that are entering the country from every single country out there, not just Mexico, not just South America, but coming from everywhere. We're not even bothering to fill out paperwork. Just cross on in here. Hit the Section 8, we get air conditioning, food, everything we need, followed by the next trip is not to the employer, but to the food stamp office. This is a bunch of bullshit, okay? Let me just be honest. I've had enough of all this. You know, my interest in my company has always been the American people. If you disagree and you believe that it's okay to have people illegally enter the country, utilize and burn up the system, and then we keep our veterans on the street. We keep 80 and 90-year-old women sleeping in their cars while they wait for years. And then we're granting instant access to illegal aliens and migrants that haven't done a fucking thing in this country yet. Okay, so let's think about that carefully. As a Section 8 consultant, my interest is in the American people. We're footing the fucking bill. Every time I make a video or I consult and I pay taxes, I'm the one paying for this shit too. Enough's enough. I don't give a damn what Republicans and Democrats think about this. I get accused of being one or the other every day. I support what's good for America. And to be honest with you, I support about a half of everybody's agenda. Both Democrats and Republicans. And it makes no difference to me whether you think I'm hot, cold, or whatever. The reality of it is, we have to address what's going on in our own country. The United States is in deep debt, trillions and trillions, and we can't just keep the money wheel going. We are not a soup kitchen as a country. We can't continue to work and pay out money to people that have never put a day's interest into our country. We're not even trying anymore. We have choo-choo trains of people coming in the country And it doesn't matter what their intent is. They can go intend to have a job and participate in society. But let me tell you something. A lot of them are, I had one lady comment and tell me, oh, well, it costs thousands. Well, honey, every country in the world, when you try to move there and become their citizen, they require you to A, speak their language, and B, a lot of them can require anywhere from $40,000 or more in savings before they allow you in that country. But it's become a worldwide crisis that, that everybody's looking for a free ride in the U.S. We're not pursuing the American dream. We're just doing whatever the hell we want to do, and nobody's filling out these forms. We're just crossing straight in. I shouldn't have to spend the last 25 years rescuing people and them waiting while other people are being housed the minute their slippers hit the land. I mean, it's literally crossed over the border, get a hot shower and air conditioning. I wish I could say that much for a few clients that have actually died in their cars. For all the men and women that have fought for our country, for the probably 1 million or more children that are sleeping in tents and in the forest and on sidewalks and in homeless shelters. What about them? What about those Americans? This is not a time to consider the whole world. We cannot rescue the whole world. The country was founded on a basic principle, and we filled our country with people from everywhere, and that's fine. But we're 300 years later, and like most countries, we have to look at the interests of our own people. As long as there's people on the sidewalk with no housing that are Americans, then we don't have time to support and give out money or any other fucking thing to help anybody do shit that's from somewhere else. Applications are closed. You either do this stuff legally or not. So, if you're very certain that there's a person that's residing in Section 8 housing as of now, not even October 1st, as of now, that's entered the country, committed a felony by entering the country illegally, committed a second felony by participating in the housing authority, you should report both the housing authority and the aliens if you suspect it. Now, if you've got a case for asylum, you're coming from a country that's war-torn and other things, just do it legally. That's all you got to do. And sometimes we have to reject people regardless of circumstance. We are not a hotel. The United States is not a fucking hotel. We're not here to fix the whole world's problems. I think that America's done enough for everybody in the country. We poured trillions into wars to save people's asses in Afghanistan and everywhere else. What more does the world expect from America? Okay, we can't house everybody. This is just out of control. It's out of control when I've got women, men and women in their 80s, in tears, they're burning up in their cars, they're burning up on the sidewalk, children on oxygen machines. These are Americans that can't even get a voucher to save their fucking life, and I've got to sit here and then I've got to watch people flood in this country that won't even take a 10-cent ink pen out and fill out a form. Don't tell me in South America and Mexico, in Russia, that you guys don't own an ink pen or internet. Fill out the fucking form. If you survived a dictator and you've been electrified on a metal mattress, if you managed to survive that, what more would it be to wait 10 minutes to fill out a form? And they argue, it costs too much money. Well, look, it costs money no matter where you go. No country is going to let anybody walk in the country freeloading. Oh, well, I came here and I've got $1 in my pocket. Hey, this ain't for you. We're not a charity. This is not the United States of charity. If we're going to give out charity, it's going to be to the American people. Let's get real. That's the real argument, isn't it? I mean, we got people dying on the sidewalk in shelters. We've got about, 4 million, a million or more homeless. We cannot house South America, Mexico, Russia, and China, India. Okay? Even Americans that live in the country, we have rules we follow. You don't pay your taxes, you go to prison. You see my point? Even Americans have them. To presume you can just come here and do whatever the hell it is you want to do ain't going to work. You know, this is why my office gets hundreds of calls. We're constantly having to help people get vouchers while I'm watching other people sit illegally in apartments, break leases, commit 2 or 3 felonies to be in the country. And your argument is, oh, well, they got a job. Well, who gives a shit? We have to address American people that are on the sidewalk in the homeless shelter. It is not our job to house other people. We offered that. Let me tell you something. Becoming a member of the United States is a privilege. Privileges can be either earned or they can be awarded. They cannot be stolen or taken. So I'm putting the world on notice, really. Stop taking advantage of this country. We don't need more of this. So in relation to this, I'm also going to put a few places in the country on notice, a few housing authorities on notice, and many more that are here illegally on notice. If you reside in D.C. area, the odds of you getting hit by ICE arrest within 30 days are extremely high. For those of you that reside in Denver, the Denver Housing Authority already dropped a dime on their own people. The director of the Denver Housing Authority has already willfully admitted that they are the #1 state, county and state in Denver, Colorado, that hosts more illegal immigration into Section 8 housing than any other state. And so you're on the hit list. We as a country need to look at ourselves, and we have to make tough decisions. And right now that tough decision is we've got to look after our own people out here, okay? If you are naturalized, you got a green card, you went through the process like everybody else. Nobody said this shit was going to be easy to come here. And a minute of you had enough money to pay the coyote $1,000 to come here. Okay? You had enough to get on a plane and walk across the border through Canada. So I don't hear shit about you can't afford it. Whatever it takes. Okay? So, reporting aliens is 1-866-347-2423. I'll post it in the channel. And I make no apologies. As long as there's a senior, a veteran, a child, a domestic violence victim, a person in a wheelchair that's residing on the sidewalk, that I should not be hearing about anybody entering this country illegally in air conditioning with a free ride around town bus pass, food stamp card, and sitting on a voucher in a lease that they haven't even signed on. That's just criminal, period. Yeah, I do empathize with immigrants that have children because the children didn't have a choice for your dumb decisions. And to be left because you're under duress in your country because you're dealing with a dictator, well, we offer options to become an American citizen. If you're going to break the first rule before you even enter the country, then what's the point? Let me tell you something. Do you see Americans flooding into South America illegally? Do you see us crossing the border? No. Do you see us going into India and crossing the border illegally and then sitting up in there and then claiming food stamps and everything else? That shit needs to stop. That's what I have to say about this today. I've had enough. You know, I've got too many clients that can't even get housing, and we got 100,000 people. Do you realize that if we employed every plane in America, it would take roughly, out of 100,000 people at 150, 200 people a flight, we would have to commandeer every plane in America all for one solid day to deport roughly 45,000 flights to get all these flipping people out of here. And that's just the ones in Section 8. And let me say this as well before I go. We're not just talking about South America. We're also talking about every other country. Over half has nothing to do with Mexico and South America. We've got people flooding in from everywhere. This has turned into a game. And so the game is over. Now, you want to pose an argument to it? Come back to me when we have all the homeless off the street, and then you've got an argument against this. Then you could argue against what I'm saying. But as long as I've got little old ladies and men and disabled dying on the sidewalk, we got time for immigration. Applications are closed, period. They're closed unless you're going to apply and do this the right way. That being said, I've had enough. So I hope, for the sake of everybody, that we're able to come up with a solution. And you want to come in this country, then do understand it's a privilege. It's not a guarantee. And you have to go through the same process as everybody else. Okay? You don't get to skip the waiting line either and simply move in as a ghost on a lease. That's nonsense. If we're going to do that, then everybody doing that should be complicit. Then you should be out there giving a place to stay to the homeless people. Instead of flying your friends and family in from every country on the planet, why don't you help some of the other people that ain't got a home? Okay? You want to share a bedroom? Share it with people we already got that have housing issues. All right, I thank you all for your time. And again, if you want to report issues related to Section 8 housing, low-income housing, and so forth, you can contact ICE's phone number for illegal immigrants and aliens at 1-866-347-2423. My position remains solid, and I make no apology.